Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome back to the Miata. This may be the last time you see it.
That's right, everyone. The Miata is back, but not for very long because, well, we're running out of space in here, aren't we, Pete?
It's getting tight.
It is getting tight. We picked up a couple of new project cars that we haven't shown anybody yet.
Spicy.
But they are going to be super dope. I'm pumped on those. And we also have this idea of maybe doing like an NC versus S2000 battle next year.
Yeah.
We both really like that idea. We think it'd be a lot of fun.
It's more relatable than a K-swap Miata, which is what we originally intended to do, but COVID did hit.
Yeah.
And because of that, it just messed things up for us, unfortunately. And at this point, we're just like,
yeah. I think we gotta let her go to a new home, which is good news for you guys if you're on the market for what is a really well sorted, track prepped NB Miata.
Yeah.
And I think the pricing on it will be extremely fair. It does have a couple of miles on it, but it's also got a ton of quality parts on it.
Exactly.
But so, before we sell it, we want to kind of clean it up a bit. And
there's a bunch of things that we do need to sort out. The YouTubers weren't exactly easy on it, so let's put this thing up on the hoist and we'll show you what we're dealing with. The biggest issue we have with this car right now is you can barely drive it on the road, and that's because the tires are essentially square. This car did not have ABS, which means there was a lot of flat spotting going on. And check it out, guys. We went big, all out. We decided to upgrade here because what felt like every week we were going to get wheels and tires mounted up, and we thought, you know what, we really want this in-house to save us time and energy, and then we can be confident that we're mounting up wheels and balancing, more importantly, properly. Because I found a lot of the times you're driving down the road, you're like, oh, you got a little bit of a shake. Is it because it wasn't balanced properly? And then I'd have to take the wheel off, take it to the shop, have them double check it. So now with this being in-house, this is gonna be awesome. This is our Ranger LS 43B, and the reason why I went with this is because it's got this laser spot balance, which I will show you in a moment. But first, let's get the cap off this bad boy, put it on, and let's see just how bad this tire is. Let's spin this bad boy up and see what we've got. Wow, yeah, you can see there's a crazy flat spot right around. There's one right here. Here is our brand new tire mounting and dismounting machine, the Ranger R76 ATR, and really the magic is in this power assist arm. It goes from making this a frustrating experience to one that is much easier than you would expect. So first thing I'm going to do is bring out this little roller here that goes on the outside of the tire and just bring this down just a tad. Now, keep in mind here, this is probably like my 5th or 6th time doing it, so I'm no pro, but you'll see, you don't have to be a pro to use one of these. So now I'm gonna pull this around. Look how easy that went. And I'm gonna get this started. There we go, and that's it. And now, so go all the way around, pull it off. And this is really where I find the struggle is to now like get this off underneath. But because of this power assist arm, what I'm gonna do is, once again, lower this all the way down here, bring it out, tuck it underneath the tire, and then bring it up. So now I've got my iron and I'm using this assist bar here, just like that. It is up, and we should be able to kick this around. Look at that. How awesome is that? Super cool. So now the other really neat feature that this has is this arm will actually swing back. And I can remove the tire and I don't have to reset this. So with this now, I can put the tire back on, this will come down and it's right in the spot. I know with other machines, what you would be faced to do is have to manually lift this up and reset it every time and try to find your spot. So it's super cool that this just like swings back and forth. One thing I did read online for mounting tires, and the most important thing is make sure you use plenty of lube. Now let's see, can I just push this on with all that lube? I think so, DP.
Gonna hand bomb it on there?
I'm gonna try, oh, see, look at that. Once again, we've got the arm out. What we're gonna do is lower this down. You can see we wanna get this tire in place, I think around there. And now we should be able to send it, and it will, let me get this a little bit, spin the tire. This has happened a couple times to me, and that's because it's moved up, so I try to give it just a little bit of force like that. And there we go. Oh, stopped it right at the end. Little clumsy, not my best work there, but as you guys could see, really the machine does everything for you. So I am beyond pumped about this. Back on the balancer here, this thing is super easy to set up. I just have to give it the inner and outer plane. So it beeps once, then I go back out to my outer plane. There we go. Now it is set. So I spin it up. And there we go. So we need 50 and 125. And this is where, to me, the feature of this laser pointer really comes in handy. So as you can see, I now have a laser mark exactly where I need to put this weight, which is super awesome.
Actually, one more pro tip before we get back to work on the Miata, and that is to tape on your wheel weights, especially if you take your car to the racetrack a bunch, because as the brakes heat up and heat up the wheel, I find the adhesive on these weights can fail, they'll come off. Plus you're spinning the wheel at a higher speed than you might be on the street too. So I've just found that these tend to come off at the track if you don't tape them on. And for taping them on, we like to use just some aluminum foil tape because it does well with the heat. The adhesive doesn't fail in the heat. Maybe it even helps reflect some heat off of the weight. The hard part though is getting the paper off of it. I was doing it so well before, but once I get this off here, I'll tape the weights on. Well, we did have a bit of a knocking noise coming from the suspension somewhere, so we're going to give this thing a good nut and bolt check, and we've also got to do a few little things like refasten the front lip here.
Who did that?
I'm going to go with the Boss Garage. Since we're getting ready to sell this thing, we should also mention to potential owners that there's oil here because we think the rear main seal is leaky, but you will get these nice R-Theory frame reinforcements and of course this really sweet sounding ISR exhaust. Well, I think we may have found at least one of the clunks going on here, and watch as I turn this lower outer bolt as the whole kind of spindle or hub moves in and out here. See the rotor really moving in around. So this is supposed to be torqued to 54 foot-pounds. I'm pretty sure.
Where are we at here, DP? Where are we at?
Yeah, she's real loose.
Wow.
Real loose. There we go. So that's got to be at least one of our knocks going on back here. Just checking the strut tower bolts on our coilovers up front, and they're fine, but Pete noticed that, oops, we're looking at, oh, where's the dipstick for the oil? Oh, wait a minute, we've cracked our Raceland header. So I was just actually bragging to Craig, Miata Dad from the Car Passion channel, about how our cheap Raceland header hadn't failed us at the racetrack, but apparently it has failed us, so it's cracked right along
That's
the
terrible. Now I've got to weld that thing up before we sell it.
Yeah.
It's so much extra work for me, man.
But we've also proven that you do get what you pay for. You buy a cheap header and these things are probably going to happen, especially if you're going to the racetrack. I think on the street this header would be fine, but again, we put it through some severe heat cycles and she done cracked on us. So I'm going to pull her off here and test out PT's welding skills on some cheap Chinese metal.
I by no means am an expert on how to fix cracks like this, but what I do know is you're supposed to drill a hole at the end of the crack. What I did is I came in with the Dremel tool and just got that area and actually grooved out a little bit of the whole entire crack so it'll be easier and cleaner to get some filler rod in there. The question I have for you guys is, when ideally I think the way to do this properly is to back purge this entire header. But should I come in and weld on the inside as well? I'm not sure. Maybe that is something that will help strength or not, but let me know in the comments. There you go. She is all welded up. I think I added a good amount of filler there. It looks to be fully penetrated on the other side, so I think it's time to put this bad boy back in. So that is a official wrap on our engine bay. Everything's back together, header's in, and now it's time to move to the back, where we also have a very common Miata problem. The parking brake is the issue that I was just talking about, and that is it always seems to loosen itself up. So I tightened this prior to our track season, and within, I think, 3 or 4 track sessions, the parking brake does not work anymore. You can yank that thing up and it's not working. And it's a weird system on this car because there's like a weird hex in the back of the caliper that you like tighten up, to make sure that that this is tight. And I've read this is a super common problem, that they do kind of like back themselves out all the time. Nevertheless, I'm going to tighten this up and let's see if I can get this to work again. With this last wheel going back on, we are officially done with checking this thing over with all the mechanical stuff. And man, the one thing I've got to mention is these wheels are so light. Like, it's incredible. It's been so long since I've had a 15-inch wheel in my hand, and I've forgotten how light they are. Like, these Koenig freeforms are just incredible. So this Miata is certainly not suffering from heavy wheels in that sense.
And there you have it, everyone. One clean Miata, and I gotta say, it looks strange to me without all the stickers on it, but
very clean.
It does clean up really well. It looks like a proper street car now, and the bronzy gold and silver looks even better. I love the finish on those wheels. By the way, for you eagle-eyed viewers out there, this hardtop is a new addition to the car. We found this on Kijiji, Canada's Craigslist. Came up in the right color, so we grabbed it. We paid like 1,300 Canadian, so around 900 US for it. They're hard to find, and the fact that it was color matched was a win for us. So we grabbed it thinking we might do more with the car, but as you've probably begun to piece together here, we're actually gonna sell this car. So that's part of the reason why we cleaned it up and stripped the decals off it, just so that, you know, the next owner has a clean slate to start from. So before we get down to the nitty-gritty of how much we want to post it for sale for, why don't we add up what it costs us to build this thing? Always enlightening to add up the build costs on a project like this. You know, we bought a cheap Miata. This was 3,000 Canadian, or about, what did I say, 2250 US dollars. So we started with a very affordable NB1. And I mean, it's relatively high mileage. It's got some cosmetic, you know, nicks and bruises, but mechanically it's a good car. And obviously we've fixed everything that was really wrong with it. If you want to
the chassis is pretty clean. I think the only one spot is on the other side there, the passenger side, the rocker's been fixed poorly, but otherwise, like for a Canadian car, I think it's pretty damn good.
And underneath it's solid. The frame rails are solid. There's really no sign of, like, you know, other structural rust. So really it's just that one frame rail that's kind of ugly. So I think it's a good buy. And as far as the rest of the parts that we bolted onto it, let's just run through this quickly. These Recaro pole position seats that we have on both the driver and passenger side are worth $2,290 US dollars new. Obviously, we're going to discount this once we get to the end when we set our price, but that's what it costs to buy new. These are all US prices new to buy. We also use Nagisa Auto seat rails, which came out to $490. Corbeau race harnesses, which were $378. Fortune Auto 510 coilovers, which come up to $2,100. We have the Koenig freeform wheels, which are $612. Our Nankang brand new Nankang AR1s for $484. Muteki lug nuts, SR45s, $117. The spec clutch stage 2 with aluminum flywheel is $1,050. We have R30 frame rail braces under there. Those are $210. Ibach rear sway bar, $155. Super Pro bushing kit. It was both their Align and, gosh, what's it called? Align and Enhance kit, $517. Boffy Racing GS Fabrication roll bar was $470, and the GS Fabrication strut tower bar is $105. We've got a Race Pack Vantage CL1 data acquisition and a lap timing system in here. That's $648. ISR catback that everybody loves the sound of, including me, is a whopping $380. That Raceline header that Pete just repaired, $180 plus another $100 in Pete's labor that we're not going to charge you for. We've got a StopTech Sport rotor package on all four corners. That comes out to $366. We put Sentra, brand new Sentra Sport model, bigger calipers all around. That's Centric, sorry. $250. StopTech Sport pads, another $130. Koyo aluminum rad, $300. Sparco steering wheel, $250. NRG short hub, $97, and NRG quick release, $207. We've got a 5X Racing door bushing, which stiffens up the chassis. We love those. Those were a whopping $45. And we also have 5X Racing's bronze shifter bushing, which is $30, plus an eBay front lip, which is $160, but the best looking lip on the market. And of course the hard top, which we already told you we paid 1,300 Canadian or $975 US, which brings us up to a whopping $15,245 US, or just over 20,000 Canadian. So that's our build cost at retail prices, not including tax, not including shipping, not including brokerage, not including installation. So to take this to a shop and have them build this car, you could probably tack an.
It's crazy how quickly it adds up, though.
It adds up fast. So what are we going to price this thing at, Pete?
12 grand.
You're the businessman here. 12 grand Canadian.
12 grand Canadian, yep.
Okay.
Around 9 grand US.
9 grand US. We should mention, though, that for a US buyer to buy this car right now is obviously going to be difficult given the closure of the border, but there are brokerage companies that could make that happen for you. They would charge you for their services. Or if you're crossing for business purposes, you have a legitimate reason to come to Canada other than buying this car for your jollies, then you may be able to import it or export it yourself. But more than likely, we're looking for a Canadian buyer locally to make this as easy and painless for everybody. And it's kind of the perfect track car, isn't it, Pete? It's just ready to go. Don't be afraid to shoot Pete an email. He's the businessman here, peter@speed.academy, and you can negotiate with him. Just you guys should know by now. Look around. He knows how to negotiate. So bring your A game, everybody.
Man, I think this thing's worth every penny. Come on, look at it.
It is. It is. I love this car. I'm genuinely sad to see it go, especially since we were thinking of that K-swap, which, being a Honda guy, I love the idea of K-swapping, but maybe we'll do one in the future. Maybe we'll K-swap that NC Miata we talked about earlier. So I think that's a wrap on this thing, PT.
I think it is.
That's it. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. And if you need a Miata in your life, look us up, and we'll do the best we can to get you this track-ready beast, ready to go set some lap times. Beat Pete and I's lap times. Now you got lap times with straight pipes, for Savage Geese, for all your favorite YouTube channels. So let's see how you stack up.